The MGA wasn't always what we see today. Tournaments run with precision.
Good morning.
A charitable foundation dedicated to helping others. In short, one of America's leading regional golf associations. It took vision. It took effort. So we begin by honoring those qualities exhibited by the founding fathers, 5 men who laid this foundation. Daniel Chauncey of Diker Meadow, an early MGA president who later went on to become president of the United States Golf Association. His memory lives on through the Metropolitan Amateur. Every summer, beginning in 1907, the champion hoisted a trophy he donated until it was replaced in the 1970s. Chauncey is joined by Oliver W. Bird from Meadowbrook, Grenville Kane from Tuxedo, Morris County's Richard H. Williams, and T. Hope Simpson of the Staten Island Cricket Club. From their initial 1897 meeting at Delmonico's, America's third oldest golf association, originally called the Metropolitan League of Golf Clubs, began its mission to promote the best interests and the true spirit of the game of golf. And wouldn't they all be proud and probably just a little amazed that today there are 500 plus member clubs which provide services to more than 140,000 players. A.W. Tillinghast left his signature on more than 265 courses, but it was in our backyard where his architectural flair truly shined. Baltusrol, Somerset Hills, Ridgewood, Fenway, Bethpage, Fresh Meadow, Quaker Ridge, Wingfoot. Seemingly, there's not a county in this area that can't stake claim to a Tillinghast course. Albert Warren was born into Philadelphia society, where a wild youth earned him the nickname Tilly the Terror. His thinking at times might seem terrifying to us mere mortal golfers, but it did produce terrific results. Like the 10th on the West course at Wingfoot. It was his favorite par 3 among all his designs. Through the years, US Opens and PGAs, Walker and Curtis Cups, plus every major MGA championship has been contested on one of his courses. There can be no finer validation for an architect. Everything about Tilly was grand. He earned more than $1 million in commissions, a then unheard of amount, and easily spent it through his prodigious love of drink and a penchant for investing in failed Broadway shows. But as complicated as life was off the course, there is a clarity and a purity to his work that endures. He considered holes to be like people, as he said, all rather similar from foot to neck, but with the green showing the same varying characteristics of human faces. And it brings a smile to our face, knowing that more than a century later, so much of his genius still graces our area. Our next inductee shared many similarities with Tilly. Marian Holland enjoyed a privileged childhood on Long Island. Her father, banking magnate H.B. Holland, was the MGA's first president. A gifted athlete, equestrian was actually her primary sport. Holland didn't start playing competitive golf until she was 20 years old. A year later, in 1913, she reached the finals of the U.S. Women's Amateur. 8 years after that, she claimed the title at Hollywood Golf Club. Achieving firsts became second nature to Marian. She was the victorious captain of the first U.S. Curtis Cup team, and she was the first woman to dabble in course architecture. A close friend of Alistair Mackenzie, she collaborated with the good doctor on Cypress Point. In fact, he credited her with the design of the unforgettable par 3 16th. Bobby Jones was so impressed with her work, he borrowed some of her ideas when conceptualizing Augusta National. But it was another national that would define her legacy. As the 20s roared, so too did the ladies of the Creek Club in Locust Valley,
When the Creek's men decided that women could no longer play there, Marian, who had marched with the suffragettes, took up her sister's cause and provided a solution. The Women's National Golf and Tennis Club, the first ever facility exclusively for women.
Before ground was broken, Marian had filled the membership ledger with more than 300 members. What today is the ever-welcoming Glen Head Country Club came into existence as a place where men could play, but only as guests.
Imagine stepping to the first tee of the Met Open only to find yourself competing against Sarazen and Runyon, Snead and Nelson, and you know what? They were all in their prime.
That's what a young assistant professional at Century Country Club regularly encountered as he gritted, then cut his teeth, competing against the metropolitan area's best.
But I'm imagining that young aspiring pro probably wasn't all that intimidated. It was, after all, Ben Hogan.
In 1938, for a salary of $500 a year plus food and lodging, the Texan took up residence just off of Anderson Hill Road. Characteristically, he admitted that he didn't have the ideal temperament for teaching.
Longtime members at Century recall that when playing with Hogan, he would often turn away at impact rather than witness their questionable swings because it might leave some mental scar tissue. What a story.
Hogan's time in the Met area was brief, but it was significant. It served as a launching point for formulating ideas which led to one of the game's most essential instruction books, 5 Lessons, The Modern Fundamentals of Golf. And a launching point for a legendary career as well. Locally celebrated for victories in the Westchester Open and PGA, universally recognized for his 9 major championships. Some may regard his assistant's job as a mere blip, a 2-year pit stop. But if not for his time at Century perfecting his craft, he may never have achieved the greatness we still marvel at nearly 3/4 of a century later. So please, join me in welcoming our inaugural class to the MGA Hall of Merit. Iconic figures, all with ties deeply rooted in the metropolitan area and far-reaching effects on this game that we all love.